Thank you, House Chair. The ACDP at the outset would like to compliment FORSA for raising these pertinent issues in their petition to the Cooperative Committee. The role that FORSA plays as activists and protagonists of freedom of religion is commendable and must be applauded. Indeed, if the democratic principle of freedom of religion is undermined, suppressed, or removed, it will not be long before other freedoms or rights are removed as well. House Chair, the ACDP is on record for calling for religious leaders to be declared as essential workers during the stringent lockdown periods. We also agree with FORSA that various ambiguities existed in some of the clauses at level 3 regulations, such as whether drive-in gatherings would flout the regulations at the time. Additionally, it made no sense to limit churches and other religious groups from distributing much needed food to our communities when the President of South Africa himself said that government lacked capacity to distribute food parcels, not forgetting at the time those selfish politicians who stole, hoarded, and sold food parcels meant for the poor. This act in itself could have resulted in more people dying from poverty and hunger than from the virus. When the maximum number of religious gatherings was set at 50, but other sectors not, the ACDP spoke about this anomaly and hypocrisy. The raising now of the number to 250, while your casinos and supermarkets, shebeens, and other institutions have no such restrictions, again reveals the ambiguity and hypocrisy of the drafters of the lockdown regulations. The ACDP calls on the minister to lift the moratorium on schools renting their facilities to religious groups. These groups in schools can and would comply with the stringent health and hygiene protocols, and hence there would be no need for this discrimination of churches and other religious groups in schools. It is the view of the ACDP that the maximum number of 250 people attending for the church and other religious groups is an overkill reaction from the minister, as the church has in place stringent sanitation, hygiene, and social distancing protocols, which your airlines, shebeens, and supermarkets don't necessarily have. Why should a church with the capacity to seat 5,000 people, for example, be limited to a service with just 250 congregants present, while your casinos and others in the business sector can take 50% of their capacity? Is this not hypocritical and discriminatory against the church? It is the view of the ACDP that the prohibition of the laying on of hands during prayer, baptism, and communion is unreasonable, given that there is an opportunity for the use of surgical gloves, as well as adhering to the necessary health and hygiene protocols during these religious practices. The ACDP agrees that the recommendations of the Committee for the Department to immediately respond to FORSA's queries where it had not done so, in order to cultivate a habit of responsiveness, the committee and minister must note that the church is not an enemy of the state. Do not make it through ambiguous, hypocritical, and discriminatory regulations. I thank you.